Well, as we reported last night ahead of World Refugee Day, the UN Refugee Agency has found that war and violence uprooted more people in 2016 than at any time since the Second World War. Much of that dislocation has been the result of the protracted war in Syria, which of course shows no sign of abating. Malek Jandali is an award-winning German-born Syrian pianist and composer and the founder of the Pianos for Peace charity. Here's a taste from his 2012 song Freedom Symphony. Well, Malek Jandali joins us live now from our Sydney studios. Welcome and thank you so much for talking to us on The World.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Your music is extremely evocative and beautiful, and it does carry very powerful images as well. I wonder, for you, how important is this in spreading your message of peace?
It's my duty as a human, as an artist, to give the voiceless a voice through my music, especially when my culture and my identity and my people are being eradicated and facing the Holocaust of current days. So what I'm trying to do through my music is to unite people in a symphony for peace and preserve and keep the music of Syria and the rich heritage of Mesopotamia in general alive.
Well, you've recently visited a refugee camp in Jordan. There's some 80,000 people living there. Give us a sense of what you saw there on the ground.
I saw babies, families, women. You know, the majority of the 65.6 million refugees today in the world are children. And to me that's devastating, because that was my hope, because my tour was the voice of the free Syrian children. But when the majority of the refugees are children in these camps, and I call them concentration camps, to be honest with you, because people are just experiencing this excruciating slow death with no hope. People are born without any identification. No proper schooling, medical attention, and that's why we have babies drowning in the Mediterranean. What really bothered me the most in the Zatari camp, for example, in Jordan, that these camps are becoming a permanent place, concrete structures, markets, so they're not refugee camps anymore, and that's what really shocked me, to be honest with you.
When you see how relentless the war has been in Syria, and seemingly, the President Bashar al-Assad does not give an inch in this battle. He sees the destruction of his entire nation. You say art is a threat to him. How so?
The fundamental problem in Syria is the brutal dictatorship, or the state sponsor of terrorism that we have. Not from now, that's since Assad the father. And what we are experiencing today is the Holocaust. I call all these refugees Holocaust survivors. With all respect to my Jewish brothers and sisters, we have Hitler of modern day gassing children to death and forcing families to go and ride the wave of the Mediterranean and the oceans and drown. So the solution is very simple: to go to the fundamental cause problem, which is dictatorship and all the evil powers that are being united against the civilians. And I truly believe that art, meaningful art, and music is the solution to unite people and present our case as humans. It's my duty is to present my case through music on the international stage. Politicians failed, journalists are being targeted, and the people are, and the civilians are, being in a Holocaust. So the only thing I have as an artist is the soft power of art and my symphony for peace.
Malek, explain to us too how you feel. You talk about this flow of refugees, and you see how that pressure that it is putting on other nations across Europe, across in Britain, in America, even in Australia, America, of course, where you now live. How concerned are you about how dividing this has become, and how do you see a way to unite these communities that have become so divided?
It's a great question. I really appreciate your question, because that reminds me and the audience, and I hope everyone else who's watching, about our humanity. Being human is given, but to keep our humanity is a choice. So when we have babies drowning, please don't call them migrants, and don't call them all these terms. Call them babies or humans, and don't reject them based on color or religion or any ethnic group or nationality. At one point, we are all refugees, and I call them Phoenix and exiles, or Holocaust survivors. So I hope that my message of unity and preserving the beauty of my identity through my art will remind myself first and the audience of our basic, common and shared values of humanity and peace. I have a little story about a kid who was dying on the operation table in a refugee camp from the wounds of injustice, and the last thing he told the doctors, "I'm gonna tell God everything," and he passed away, resting in peace rather than living in peace. And to me, that's shameful, unacceptable, and we should unite all together as humans to stop that war against all humanity. What's going on in Syria is a war against all humanity, when we have the oldest synagogue in the world being eradicated, churches where you can hear the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic being eradicated, the Silk Road, Palmyra, not to count the human lives. So from that perspective, I hope my music, my Symphony for Peace, my Syrian Symphony for Peace that we are presenting, we actually presented it today at the Parliament with Ben Quilty. It was an honor to actually have this meaningful event, and we are going to present it at the beautiful Sydney Opera House on Saturday. And I thank all the organization, the Sydney Peace Foundation, all the wonderful people of Australia. I had today an amazing Indigenous lady who welcomed me to this country, and it has been hospitable, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving the children of Syria a voice on your program and in Australia.
Well, we do hope your message is heard. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.